Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. It's Friday, it's 5pm. I hope there is a beer in your glass for the first time this weekend. I think we need to start this podcast, Bradley, by addressing the Kiefer Sutherland Johnny Garrett hybrid that has caused horror. I think horror is the main reaction it's had on social media.
Horror. There's a lot of forehead going on, but basically I had to work with what I could find in my archive.
You're talking about my forehead here.
No. Of course not. No, I wouldn't shame you. You've got nothing to be ashamed of. But I had to work within my image archive that I have of you. So that's from another thumbnail from when you did Dry January and you were sort of
I thought
on Usual Suspects lineup.
Yeah, I thought I looked pretty serious.
Yeah. So you've got I did WhatsApp you and say, have you got any blue steel expression photographs for the Kiefer thumbnail, please? And I don't think you got back to me quick enough before I could find that. And I was like, well, that's perfect because you sort of look sort of menacing, but also maybe you're sort of like you've got come to bed eyes or something. So I was like, perfect 24 bit of like, I'm not quite sure why you're looking at me. Like if someone looked at me like that on the street, I'd be confused, maybe flattered, maybe scared. And I think it was a powerful look. But yeah, you with sort of frosty tip, blonde highlighted hair is a look, man. It's a look.
It's not one I'm gonna replicate anytime soon. Although I feel like frosted tips are just a couple of years away from coming back into vogue. But I will. I mean, I don't have the hair for it anyway, so I'd have to get implants and then frost them.
I've seen hipsters in Peckham with frosty tips hair, like 20-year-old hipsters wearing like 90s clothing. I've seen guys wearing like those real, I don't even know what they're called. They're like mega baggy trousers, like jeans.
Yep.
They're like super wide and with like frosty tip hair. It's quite the combo.
It was such a bad time for fashion. I don't understand why. You know, I get that fashion is cyclical, but shouldn't we be cutting out certain parts? You know, just skipping over that in the circle.
No. 90s where it's at now, mate. I was born in 1982, so I grew up fully in the 90s. I think some 90s fashion's great, but a lot of it's obviously terrible. But 90s culture is like kind of optimistic. Everyone wanted to be American. It was kind of like, I feel like the 90s was quite a positive time in the world. Potentially there seemed to be less crazy shit.
I think that might be rose-tinted, didn't understand what was going on in the world.
Maybe. Probably.
You know, we had the Blair boom. I don't know what it is, like late 90s.
Yeah, cool Britannia, whatever, New Labour, D-Ream as their theme tune, which was a terrible idea, but they ran with that for a while. It turns out he's not that cool. He's like a war criminal, essentially, isn't he? Blair.
He didn't come out of that pure moment untarnished.
I ain't talking Lionel Blair talking T Blair. He's a bad boy. I think he's not maybe not good, but I don't know where I'm going. He does a circuit now, doesn't he, of just talking and making millions.
Well, that's what they all do. I think he was a peace envoy to the Middle East at some point, which is highly ironic.
Jokes.
Anyway,
absolute jokes.
Anyway, hashtag stick to beer. Yes, I appreciate the work that you did to give me hair. It was quite a thrill to see me, even if they were frosted. I just want to say on Wednesday, after the video went live, I did a little silly tweet and was like, I think I'm going to watch 24 tonight. And then my wife went out, and I was like, well, what am I going to do tonight? And I ended up watching 24.
Wow.
I'm hoping someone else out there did the same thing.
How many eps? Did you start at series 1?
Yeah. I crashed through like 5 episodes. It's so goddamn bingey.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It is so
What
good.
happens in the first series? I couldn't possibly remember.
Oh, it's essentially the presidential nominee.
Yes.
There's a threat to his life from some unknown people, possibly inside CTU, the counter-terrorist unit.
Right.
And a lady blows up a plane, and it's not really clear entirely why. I think she does it just to get a pass off of a photographer who's going to meet the president-elect, which seems like a really long-winded and dramatic way of just pickpocketing someone.
Wild. So it's worth a rewatch.
I'm not sure. I don't know. The jury's out. I'll watch a couple more this weekend, but it's aged the special effects, and also we seem to have developed some subtlety in dialogue since the early 2000s.
What are you saying, Johnny?
There's a lot of he's the bad boy of the CTU, and you're like, that should have been the subtext. That didn't need to be said. You know.
Well, they had to establish a character, right? So, and
very quickly, I guess.
Early 2000s TV watchers were idiots, so they needed to give them a bit of help. I reckon probably as it went on throughout the series, so like series 4 or whatever, probably got a bit more nuanced. It's probably a bit more Thingy Greengrass, the guy that did the Matt Damon, what are they called?
The Bourne
films. I feel like it had probably evolved more into like a sort of Bourne. Is it Danny Greengrass, the guy that does like shaky camera work, and they look quite real, don't they? They're kind of gritty, those films.
Yeah, I mean these ones. The set feels a little bit like
polished.
Laser Quest in the 90s.
Oh wow! So like lots of sort of moody lighting and
stuff.
And
like corrugated iron and stuff that just
Mate.
Wouldn't actually be in a counter-terrorist unit building. They're just trying to make it look a bit grungier. I think it's one of those things where like if Kiefer wasn't very good in it, it would all fall apart very quickly indeed.
Yeah.
But he's Kiefer. He's frosty tipped Kiefer.
Yeah, he did another thing called Designated Survivor, right?
Yeah, which was
everyone got blown up or something. All the presidents and whatever.
Yeah,
and wasn't he the guy that then became in charge or something?
Yeah, so when they have like meetings at the Capitol where all of the politicians are there, one person's not allowed to go in case it blows up, and it does blow up. I watched about 2 episodes of that and then was like, nah, even Kiefer can't save this.
Really?
Yeah, it was awful.
Okay. Oh right, okay. I mean, it's as a premise, I thought it sounded quite interesting.
Yeah, it didn't really get past the premise, did it?
Okay.
It was like, this is the premise.
I didn't watch it.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Oh right. Yeah. Right. No, it's not worth a watch.
Oh damn. Okay. Well, that's one less thing I have to watch.
Yeah. There
that's
you
good.
go.
Good.
Anyway, so this is a beer podcast, as I frequently remind us and our listeners, because I have to. But yes, we're talking about the thumbnail for this week's video, which was about as clickbaity as we've got in homebrew. I can hear Jeff. Is that Jeff or Stevie?
Yeah. I've got a Jeff appearance. She knows I'm a little bit upset today, so she's come to give me a bit of love. Sorry about that, people.
She can sense it.
Purring ASMR style in the background. Yeah, she's my therapy cat. Yeah, man. So, what did you want to talk about? Comments, did you say, or do you want to just talk about the video?
Well, I was explaining it to anybody that didn't really understand what the first 8 minutes of this podcast has been about.
Yeah.
We'll get to the video. I think before we get to the video, we should talk about what we did on Monday and Tuesday.
Oh yeah, it's been a busy old week, hasn't it?
Which was we went to the seaside.
We went to the seaside. We went to I thought it was the Norfolk seaside. because it's so high up. But it's the Suffolk seaside, isn't it?
Yeah, it's North Suffolk.
North Suffolk, which probably should be South Norfolk, in my opinion. But there
Okay.
you
Well, we'll leave that debate to, I don't know, the rezoning of the constituencies. Stop going into politics. Yes, we went to Adnams in Suffolk.
Oh, mate.
It was a trip that I've wanted to do for a long time. It's a brewery tour that I've never done, despite going to Southwold a couple of times, and despite being, next to Oakham Citra. I think Broadside was one of my favorite car scales when I was really getting into beer in like 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a pilgrimage.
Big time. And what I've just got to say, for anyone who hasn't been Southwold, maybe you don't even live in the UK, just give a little Google of Southwold. It is literally the sort of thing that, tourists would flock to in the summer to be a sort of quaint British seaside town. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's got like a sort of chocolate box look to it. It's got a great pier. We didn't get to go on the pier, but it does have a great pier. And just the little cottages everywhere, little fishermen's cottages, very, very quaint. Lots of sort of upscale boutiques though, Johnny. It's very much a posh town, isn't it? Like a little enclave of
but I think it retains its charm in part down to Adnams. Like it's got amazing pubs with amazing beer and good food and a holiday feel all year round, which we really enjoy. I mean, the weather was beautiful, cold but beautiful, so everything was lit in gorgeous like golden winter sun, and we just spent a happy hour just going around getting B-roll. So I think the video might just be a documentary about how the sun can bounce off of cobbles.
Well, I managed to film this sort of. It was up in the sky on the smokestacks coming out of the brewery, and I don't think I got it on actual camera, but I got it on my phone. It was the steam, and then the sun behind the steam, and it was creating a shadow in the steam of the chimney, which looked like it was sort of like a floating shadow in space, like a hologram shadow. It looked crazy. I really enjoyed it. I thought, wow, that's absolutely beautiful. It's the sort of thing that you would film like in American Beauty when they film the little sort of tornado of trash, and it's sort of like a deep moment when they're watching that video of the trash spinning around. I was like, this is like that, except I'm filming a sort of holographic, steamy shadow.
Did you film it in landscape?
No.
Oh, Bradley.
I know. It looks real nice. I was like, fuck, why didn't I? Well, I don't think we had the camera out at that point.
Doesn't seem like
anyway.
Us. Yeah.
I know,
anyway,
right?
It was beautiful, and we had a wonderful time. Adnams, we hung out with Dan, the head brewer, and Fergus, the I guess brewing director, master brewer, depending on I guess what country you're from, what you call them. But the guy at the top of the brew team, and we've got a really great video together. We talk about the future of cask, the past of cask. We talk about amazing British yeasts, because the Adnams yeast is really very remarkable in that it has a lot of Belgian qualities which you can pick up, particularly in the darker and the stronger beers. We talk about cask production. We talk about the incredible history of Adnams. And then, we're going to set it all to B-roll of suns setting and seagulls squawking. It's going to be evocative, ethereal, educational, all the E's.
Beautiful. I kind of fell in love with Adnams again, because I think it's of its place. It's beautiful, and they love where they're from, and you can tell they really respect their community in everything that they do, and the people that are working there are just some of the nicest people I've met in beer in a long time. I absolutely loved it. I really want to go back. And as we were there, I was like, man, I wish I was on holiday right now, because
you didn't want to be with me. That's
wonderful.
Fair.
Well, no, we could have been on holiday together, but we just didn't have time to play on any arcade machines or eat ice cream because we were too busy filming beautiful sunsets and
filming chimneys,
steamy rooftops and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, the beer is incredible. It was like the ghost ship I had in, was it the Crown? No, not the Crown. I can't remember what
Nelson.
the place was. The Nelson, mate. The Nelson. That's the gaff when you're there.
That's the pub to drink in. Yeah, they don't do food, but if you're looking to drink, actually, I think they said they had like a pizza truck or something that comes. But yeah, amazingly kept cask there. All Adnams stuff, but I think Adnams are known for having essentially 3 beers in the bitter, broadside and ghost ship, but they had lots more while we were there. We were tasting a delicious barley wine they make. There's double barreled. There's all kinds of exciting beers that they make and seasonal stuff on top. So we tried a lot of that. It's a great brewery, and like the fact that you said fall in love with Adnams again is exactly why we're making these videos at the moment, like with Citra, and now with Adnams, and hopefully some more this year, because when you have a platform like we do, it would be very easy just to keep making videos about
the hot new thing that's exactly.
So we want to make sure that we are promoting all aspects of beer culture and reminding people of great beers they've left behind because they've got excited about other amazing stuff. So yeah, I fell in love with Adnams again, all over again on that trip, and I hope that we can get that across in the video, just how stunning Southwold is, what a great beer break it would be for anybody, and also with families. It's a very family friendly place. But also just how good that beer is, and you don't need to be in Southwold to be blown away by how delicious and unique beers like particularly Broadside and the Bitter, but also Ghost Ship are. So yeah, that video will be about a month out. We've got our German content to send you to send out there first. Both of those are very exciting, and of course the second episode of our Can You Brew a Beer in 36 Hours, which is coming on Wednesday. It's edited, it's uploaded, it's ready to go, which is very unusual for us, but that's what happens when you take 2 weeks off because the flu broke you. Right, this week's video. So this was, as clickbaity as we get, it was me trying to brew a beer in 36 hours and in the end failing in this episode. But still, the comments were very supportive and excited. Did you find any that you particularly enjoyed?
Yeah, I got one from Sean Carney. He said, since subscribing, I've learned so much about brewing beer. From listening back to the podcast, I also learned that jacuzzis are dangerous, as you could have a heart attack in there and then drown in piss. Keep up the great work, guys. So there you go. He's learnt from you how to brew, Johnny. Yeah. And he's learnt from me how to not die in a jacuzzi.
Yep.
And drown in piss.
I mean, did people need to learn how not to die in a jacuzzi?
Well, people sit in jacuzzis for a very long time, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous for your heart because it's, I don't know why, the rhythm, the heat, the excitement,
the rhythm,
the piss, everything.
The rhythm's gonna get you.
The heart can't take it. The heart wants what the heart wants, Johnny, and it wants to explode. And it doesn't want to
be in a jacuzzi.
When it's in a jacuzzi for 4 hours, you're gonna look like a raisin, and then you can't take it anymore. So
I love a jacuzzi. I'd stay in it for 4 hours.
Not for 4. It's dangerous. You can't. Especially when you're drinking. Apparently, you're not allowed to. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, there you go. We've told the lesson again.
They're just breeding pits of just nasty stuff, aren't they? They're definitely, like, everyone has a wee in a jacuzzi.
No one has a wee. Where do you jacuzzi?
I reckon people do. I don't jacuzzi, mate, because I know people are nasty, and they definitely have a wheezy in a jacuzzi.
You're going to have a shock when you hear about swimming pools, mate.
No, I know swimming pools.
Kids go in those.
Are bad. Yeah, I know. They put some sort of thing in them that reacts so the water will change colour, I believe.
That's an urban myth, I reckon. I've never seen it change colour. Not to say I've pissed in lots of pools, but I've never seen someone else turn it.
To sort of keep them from having a wee.
Yeah, probably.
100% people
the risk of shame. Anyway, we're a beer podcast. We're a beer podcast. Did you find any other comments, dare I ask?
Oh, God. Well, I'm gonna Mr. Rougelot, our favourite commenter and lovely all-round person, Munich-based great guy, says geeky but great stuff. I feel your editing skills have gone up a notch. I hope Alex, French guy cooking, is watching this. It's exactly the kind of insanity he could have jumped on.
He definitely would.
I guess we kind of made our project with Alex, which was different but kind of similar in that it was kind of a bit stunty, and it was all about, can we brew a beer with stuff we bought in a supermarket? So this is kind of another, can we challenge Annika? Can we do this style thing?
Yeah,
But
I mean, we're hugely
fastest.
inspired by what he's done with food, which is taking simple ideas and breaking them down to, elevate the simple. Like his episodes on like cacio e pepe and stuff like that are just incredible. And that's kind of what we're doing. Beer is a simple product at the end of the day. It's mostly 4 ingredients. But there's a lot that you can do to make it better or worse, or make it quicker or slower, or make it, lighter or heavier. So that we've taken a lot of inspiration from the way that he scientifically breaks things down, and that's what this episode was about. So I'm glad that somebody sort of clocked that inspiration and said that it was perhaps worthy of his. It was, I don't know whether it's the editing skills have gone up. It was more that we had time, because we took a 2-week break because I wasn't feeling great. But this video's sort of been bubbling along for a while. Like there was quite a big break between the 2 batches that we did of it. Not to give any spoilers, it works the second time. So that first episode, it was originally going to be one 27-minute video. But we decided that was probably a shade too long.
And it wasn't very 24 either to just make
no,
it
exactly,
one hit.
yeah, nearly as long as an episode of 24.
Yeah.
Once you take the ads out, so we decided to break it down, give you guys a cliffhanger to think about all week. But also, I think that because I was going to do it in one episode, and I was working so hard to try and make it as quick a video as possible. Maybe I have injected some tension by being absolutely ruthless with the blade tool in Final Cut. So maybe it feels a bit quicker.
Defo. What comments have you got, Johnny?
Well, I was going to say, we're slapping our own backs here, but there are a couple of comments from people saying, this has been not necessarily this has been done before, but other people do this or do something similar, or you should have done it this way. I've tried it before. But my favourite comment along these lines is actually from Beer School.
Good name, that. It's almost like we had a book called Beer School years ago, isn't it, Johnny?
I mean, if we're going to go down that road, Steve Hindy from Brooklyn had a book called Beer School before we released ours, and I'm still surprised no contact was made. But yeah, so Beer School says he challenged himself to brew a crystal clear red ale in 7 days. So brewing a New England IPA in 36 hours is a real feat. Fun fact, in Brazil, there's a company that boasts its special equipment, such as a continuous immobilized yeast bioreactor.
Wow.
Can brew a lager in as little as 36 hours. Some brewers use this technology to take orders on a Wednesday, brew the beer on Thursday, and sell by the weekend. Although the quality may not be the best, it has its dedicated customers. There's so much to pick up on that. Firstly, I'd love to know the name of that brewery. I assume it's a contract brewery that's doing it for these other brands. I'd love to know what a continuous immobilized yeast bioreactor is. I guess it's like a yeast that's just ready to go any second now, and then you just throw it in.
Yeah, it sounds like factory farmed yeast, like they're sort of like factory chickens, but they're little tiny yeast. They're in
I mean, that is essentially
cages.
what a yeast bank is.
It says immobilized, like they've been hobbled. Immobilized yeast.
Well, I think they mean like they're not doing anything. They're not reproducing or anything. They're just ready to go.
They like put them in suspension somehow.
Yeah, in
and
stasis.
then wake them up again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which
So
actually
maybe-
connects to another comment from somebody who said, the quickest way to start fermentation is to put the beer straight on to the yeast cake of a former beer, which is a great point, but defeated the idea of this task, which was grain to glass in 36 hours.
You've got to go from scratch. You can't
Exactly.
be like copying someone else's homework, mate.
Exactly. It's
Got to
not a
start from
here's what I made earlier moment. This is we made nothing.
That's like going, like making a dinner out of leftovers and claiming you've made it from scratch. You haven't. you've used leftovers.
There you go.
So
Brad's more angry about that comment than me.
Doesn't count.
The other things to pick up in this is firstly the gall, the absolute gall of people to call it a lager if it's been made in 36 hours. It hasn't been lagered, and
No.
I mean it could be a lager yeast, but it's certainly not acting like a lager yeast. But I mean, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that these beers can be churned out in 36 hours. I think, was it Carling is made in, God, I can't remember, was it 8 days? Maybe even less, the In the Factory episode with that goddamn idiot from MasterChef. Greg Wallace. It was like 5 or 8 days they were making Carling in. So that's, they're pseudo-lagers at this point. They're not. They are lagers in appearance, but not in flavour or in process. But I'm still fascinated. I want to go visit that brewery in Brazil and see that in action, because the fermentation must be terrifying to behold. Truly terrifying to behold.
That reactor, I'd be worried about a meltdown. Sounds dangerous.
Yeah, maybe that's how the world really will end. It will be a bit like The Last of Us, but it will be remobilized yeast that consumes us all.
That'd be terrifying, wouldn't it?
And we'll all be walking around like fermenting zombies.
Wow. Yeah, that's a cracking show. That I'm very much enjoying it thus far.
Do you know it comes out again? Comes out tonight, the next episode.
What? I thought it was on a...
Yeah,
really?
Coming out a couple of days early because of the Super Bowl, mate.
Why?
Here's a reason to love sport for you.
Oh, okay. That's good. I only watched the last one very recently. I didn't watch it when it came out. So, that's cool. All right. Well, that's tonight sorted then.
Yeah. There you go. It's a public service broadcast, the Friday 5 p.m. Yeah. I've just changed everybody's Friday. Going to watch 24, and then you're going to watch The Last of Us.
Some mushroom pizza or something with it. What do you reckon?
Is that what you're going to have while watching?
Maybe. I don't really like mushroom pizza, but I feel like you should eat some fungi while we're watching them.
Yeah, just take pre-revenge before it actually happens in real life. Yeah.
Exactly. You got to take them down one at a time. One fungi at a time.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think that's all we've got time for this week. We will be back on Wednesday, obviously, with part 2 of the Can You Brew a Beer in 36 Hours. It's got everything. It's got more 24 references. It's got a beautiful climax. It's got a very excitable Johnny towards the end. So, yeah, it's going to be well worth looking. And thanks for all of the comments and all the excitement about the first episode. It was really nice to see. I said it on Twitter, I really missed, when we had 2 weeks without a video, I missed having fresh comments rolling in. So it was really nice to see everybody get enthused about this one. And then the week after that, hopefully, if all goes well, we will be releasing our German content. And both of those videos are mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing.
I haven't edited them yet, but... Yeah, exactly. Literally earth-shattering in one of them, because they do shatter earth and go deep into the ground.
Deep into the ground.
Deep.
We are also potentially, we've been talking over the idea of videoing Friday 5 p.m. and making it into a YouTubeable, watchable podcast. So that is something we are contemplating. Let us know if you like that idea. I haven't really got anywhere to film. My front room's a bit of a mess at the moment, kind of halfway through decorating. But that is something that we are considering, isn't it, Johnny?
It is, yeah. So if you've got any thoughts on whether you'd enjoy that, whether you'd use it, whether you'd relish it. We've also been talking about ideas of doing a live Friday 5 p.m. podcast, so we could broadcast it live on YouTube, film that, then put it live. We want to make it feel a bit more interactive and reach the amazing audience that we have on YouTube with this podcast. So you guys have all given your views, or many of you gave your views in our annual survey, and we're taking all of that on board. And there will be some little subtle changes happening. But yeah, video is the big one. So let us know if you'd be up for that. Obviously, nothing would change as far as the audio podcast is concerned.
Yeah, I'd still be doing the audio podcast, but it might just be
I'll be able to look deep into Brad's eyes as he's monologuing.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, I get nervous if I have to look at someone in the face when I'm talking nonsense, I think. I lose my confidence, so that's the only thing. I might have to wear
sunglasses. Is that the secret to your monologuing, the fact that you don't...
Yeah.
Right, I see. Interesting. Well, you could just turn your screen off for when you feel the flow is coming.
Okay.
Horrible phrasing. Right,
Yeah.
anyway, we will see you on Wednesday for the second episode of our Homebrew Odyssey into Short and Shoddy, as the Brewlosophy people would call it. And of course, we'll see you and you'll hear from us next Friday with the next Friday 5 p.m. in which we'll break down why nobody is using Kvike really to make pro beers. Until then, love and beer. The Bubble and Friday 5 p.m. podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's craft beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/the craft beer channel. And if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food, and homebrewing. Love and beer.